Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about a painter who I believe shows remarkable talent, dedication, and love of life. The pathos in Dean Mitchell's painting is inspiring, and I'm giving the book, The Art of Dean Mitchell, The Early Years, a highest recommendation. If you care about humanity and passion in storytelling and art, I think Dean Mitchell will speak to you. Sadly, this book appears to be out of print, but you can still obtain a used copy for a reasonable price. The book has a short introductory essay, and the rest of the book is dedicated to large pictures of his work. So even though you won't be getting a huge collection of essays explaining his work, you are getting a beautiful book where you can just look at his work and enjoy yourself. The introduction, written by Anne Akey, helps explain how Dean Mitchell's upbringing and personal character inform his painting. His late grandmother, Mary Mitchell, was very influential in helping raise Dean during his childhood in Quincy, Florida in the 60s. According to the first page of the introduction, she imbued him with a strong sense of himself and his people. She taught him determination and self-reliance, and she taught him to dare to dream. Dean Mitchell's grandmother encouraged his early interest in art by getting him a paint-by-numbers set depicting Jesus Christ. He recalled hating looking at all the little numbers and ignoring them to paint freehand on his second time using paint-by-numbers. As an older child, Dean had to save and work selling pecans to afford paints. The rest of the essay describes how teachers and other Quincy residents helped Dean find opportunities to exhibit his work. Winning a $100 first place award in a Panama City art competition encouraged Mitchell to pursue art further, and even after becoming a famous artist, Mitchell continued to participate in competitions because he believed this pushed him to continually improve. In Mitchell's words, shows keep me aware of what other artists are doing. They force me to constantly re-examine my own work. I believe this illustrates Mitchell's excellent attitude towards improving his own art. Mitchell entered the Columbus College of Art and recalled feeling like he was behind his peers and needed to catch up with them. After earning a degree in commercial art and working on commercial projects, Dean worked in his spare time to pursue success as a fine artist and full-time painter, scrimping and saving to enter more competitions. He considered winning the Best in Show award in the London T.H. Saunders exhibit to have been a major milestone in his career. I don't know if Anne Akey's introduction directly speaks for Dean Mitchell's views on art, but I can certainly see overlap between what she's written and Dean's art itself, which is one of the things I love about the book. When Akey writes that Mitchell's art has soul, you can see it in his paintings. I'm going to assume that Akey is representing Mitchell's view on art when she discusses technique and becoming an artist. This statement is so perfect, I need to quote it in full. What sets him apart from hundreds of other young artists? Not his mastery of technique. Technical skill is the baseline in art. You have to have it. You have to understand and have control over your medium. Technical skill alone makes a craftsman, not an artist. Soul makes an artist. Dean Mitchell's work has soul. Akey writes that Dean Mitchell's style isn't purely realistic, and looking at Mitchell's art for myself, I agree with this observation. Mitchell isn't a super-realist or a photorealist painter. He is painting realistically, but using the paint to achieve beautiful effects which aren't necessarily realistic. I think it's noteworthy that Dean Mitchell, as a realist, respects and appreciates the works of abstract expressionists. He doesn't look down his nose at them. He draws ideas from them, naming Franz Kline and Robert Motherwell as inspirations. Says Dean, there is much to be learned from their bold use of dramatic light and dark spaces. The bold white forms created between the black lines are an integral part of the painting. Of all the paintings in the book, I think the watercolor Quincy Plant Worker illustrates this most perfectly. In addition to the drips, the subject's torso is barely sketched in, the posture being implied by a strong black shape with about 2 or 3 washes of paint. This contrasts with the more detailed and resolved face, but the strong black helps unite these two styles into a complete whole. Again, just looking at Mitchell's art for yourself, you can see his love of Caravaggio-style lighting, strong lights, strong darks. I have so much respect for Dean Mitchell as an artist, I think it's almost unseemly for me to talk about any controversial issues in relation to his work. However, Akey's introduction brings up a very interesting topic, so I think discussing this is important. One of the factors motivating Dean was a desire to see Black Americans represented in paintings in museums, while at the same time hoping to earn a reputation as an artist, not a, quote, black artist, unquote. In his early days, he went as far as avoiding attending his own show openings so that people would evaluate him on the basis of his work, not his race. This is something in contrast to a TV special hosted by Billy D. Williams featuring Dean Mitchell, where the focus of the special was black artists. In contrast to the TV special, I find this book's focus on Dean Mitchell's achievements and desire to be evaluated based on his work to be inspiring and important. It makes the argument that when Dean paints blacks, he does so because he knows these people and appreciates these people. He's not just painting black people for the sake of painting black people. He is representing his love of life and his love of humanity through his art. In addition to basic information on the paintings like their title, year of creation, medium, and size, Mitchell occasionally adds brief comments on the subject matter and their personal significance. Mitchell shows mastery of multiple paint media, whether acrylic, oil, or watercolor. His portraits remind me of Rembrandt in that he is interested in both psychology and loose paint application. His landscapes and paintings of buildings remind me of Andrew Wyeth, in that they are not merely paintings of old buildings, but evoke a strong sense of time and place. In paintings like Bonding Years, his interest in both clothing and depicting a small moment in time with a family reminds me of genre painters like Vermeer. Since this book focuses on Mitchell's early career, I would strongly encourage you to visit Mitchell's website for more information on his work over the years. Sadly, this is one of about 3 books which have been produced on his work, not counting one children's book. I think the reason for this is fairly obvious. Beginning in the early 1900s, and especially in the 1970s, realist painting largely fell out of favor in academic art theory circles. While I think there was a resurgence of interest in portraiture in the 80s following the exhibition A New Spirit in Painting, my own experience in reading as an art student has left me with the distinct impression that the art world in general is far more interested in conceptual and performance art, and that, as a consequence, work like Mitchell's has received criminally little interest from art theorists and art historians. One of Mitchell's paintings, The State of the Arts, directly expresses this frustration. In it we see a bird hanging from the ceiling, and graffiti is apparently written on the walls. But if you look closely, you can see that the graffiti does not appear to fit with the rest of the space. It's as if it's floating in air in front of the walls. In addition to naming representational painters such as Tom Eakins, regionalists like Tom Hart Benton, and post-impressionists like Van Gogh and Paul Gauguin, much of the graffiti contains fragmented statements such as "no respect," "anybody can be an artist," and "not too original." In addition to his interest in people, several of Mitchell's paintings appear to represent a particular interest in religion, specifically Christianity. I think this reinforces the idea that Mitchell is concerned with the character and beliefs of the people he is painting, even if he's not painting scenes from the Bible. There are a variety of other subjects Mitchell explores, but because I want to encourage you to go and check out Mitchell's work for yourself, I'm not going to discuss all of these. Not because I want to overlook them, but because I want to leave surprises for you to discover on your own. But there's no way I can skip over discussing Mitchell's pencil work in preparation for his painted portraits. Mitchell's pencil studies from his series of portraits of Rowena Estella Haibo are exquisite. He sketches out multiple ideas on a single page, focusing on her face, her hands, and her body's posture as a whole. Starting with a few quick lines, he builds up more lines to figure out the form, and builds up the most lines while figuring out the light, shadow, and contours of the face. Notice how he hasn't drawn her eyes yet, but the structure of the subject's skull is so clearly observed he could easily add them later. Mitchell's comments give us perspective on who Rowena was, why she made such an impression on Mitchell, and reinforce what was written in Anne Akey's introduction. Mitchell cares about the soul and humanity of his subjects and wants to preserve this in his drawing and painting. My opinion? Dean Mitchell proves that if you care about something like representation of a diversity of individuals in art, of different races or ethnicities, the way to go about achieving that is to strive for excellence as an artist. Whether we are talking about painting, drawing, or writing fictional stories, excellence as an artist is rooted in mastering the technical aspects of your craft first, but additionally giving your work pathos by observing life and caring about others. You cannot achieve excellence by pettily dismissing others or wasting your time tearing down people on Twitter. You achieve excellence through working on your craft and living your life in a way which gives you an opportunity to appreciate others. In Mitchell's case, whatever his religious beliefs are, his view of life is at least partially informed by a Christian worldview and the faith of his subjects. His art is a testament to the character of an excellent artist, concerned with beauty and life. I hope I can one day reach such a level of poignancy, and I'd relish the opportunity to see his work in person. Please go check him out more. I'm #1 Marmaduke fan. I love you guys. Catch you later.